Once, there was a woman named Mia who had a recurring nightmare where she was trapped in an endless hallway with no exit in sight. In the dream, she would walk and walk, but the hallway seemed to stretch on forever, and she never arrived at its end. One day, Mia woke up to find herself in that very hallway. It was as if the dream had become real. She was alone, with no source of light other than the dim moon that filtered through a small window at the end of the hall. She tried to scream, but nothing came out. As she started walking down the hall, she saw that the walls were lined with shelves, each holding a coffin. She tried to open one of them to hide, but each was locked with a chain. She continued walking down the hall, and as she got closer to the window, she saw a figure in the distance. It was a tall man with long, bony fingers, dressed in a black robe. She couldn't make out his face. The figure started to walk towards her, and she began to run as fast as she could, but the man was gaining on her. Finally, Mia reached the window and saw that it was sealed shut. She turned around to face the figure, who was now inches away from her. He reached out his hand and touched her forehead. Suddenly, she was back in her bed, in her room. She was shaking, but relieved that it was just a nightmare. However, as she got up to turn on the light, she saw that there was a small scratch on her forehead, the same one where the figure had touched her. From that night on, Mia never had that nightmare again, but she couldn't shake the feeling that it had somehow become real. And she was never sure if she was truly alone in her room at night,